get the info, get the name out there. Mm-hmm. Sorry to interrupt, but I don't think you're coming through on the stream. I've got it up right now, but I can't hear your audio.
Hang
Yeah.
on. There we go. Sorry. Right, yeah, I forgot to unmute the mic whilst I was, because, yeah, just to make sure that the intro comes through, I mute the mic, so that's a fault on my behalf. So, folks, hi, Sean. Just to give a heads up, sorry for the delay. I've been readjusting to my body clock for how I usually do at work, and I'm still, recovering from an operation I had a few weeks ago on my foot. Nothing major. All you need to know is it was something that was removed that was okay, but it could have turned nasty later down the line. And just a heads up, if I start sounding a bit nasal, I think I'm coming down with something either chest cold wise or a head cold, because you know that sort of feeling that you get when you feel like you're coming down with a cold and your throat just feels a little off, that sort of feeling. So I'm not going to go on and try and go usual ranty Oni mode. Wait a minute, there's an Oni mode? Oh, good lord. Don't let him, Lid, for the love of his good and sacred, do not let him patent that.
Oh, I plan not to.
I am entering Oni mode. Hey, honey, here's this magazine of Mickey James. I'm going to go into a different mode. Hi!
Yeah.
Yes, dear.
No!
Oh.
No!
Hi, Sean.
No.
Hi, Sean Retro.
Hey, Sean.
No.
It's been a bit of it's been a very interesting week from Hall of Fame announcements, WrestleMania taking shape, and one moment on Valentine's Day that I don't think any of us will forget for a while. And it's not to say it's going to be all bad this week, because this week I indulged in two forms of binge watching on Netflix. First of all, Season 2 of Defense of the Ancients, Dragon's Blood, Season 2. Lids, you like, things like mysticism, D&D and roleplay. Wynn has seen a few clips of this. She wants to know more.
Ooh,
This stuff is amazing, considering it's also got the voice talent of Lara Pulver, who played the woman in the most recent iteration of Sherlock Holmes on the BBC. And you have Luri Lowenthal as Dragon Knight Davion. You have Tony Todd as the dragon Slyrag, or Skyrag, not 100% sure. And you have Troy Baker giving it one of his best performances ever. And a certain character that was inspired by Lena Inverse, Defense of the Ancients Lena, makes her first appearance, and she's nothing like the Cynthia Martinez or Lisa Ortiz incarnations that show up. Although you could make the distinction that Lisa and Cynthia are playing the same character, but they're not. And Dan and Sean are just talking about the Cuphead show. I've seen good little bits and pieces about it, but Dragon's Blood. I particularly suggested this to Win because she's a huge fan of the Slayers OVA with this very kind of darker and slightly moodier art style. And let's put it this way. There's a lot of cursing. there's a lot of blood, and there's so many twists and turns, and Lids, you and Win will love the character of Marcy. She's a mute character, but she does so much straight up trolling by not even uttering a single line of dialogue to her fellow characters, and it's just adorable to watch. She even drinks people under the table, and the character's supposed to be like a 5'4" handmaid with, you know, an average frame for a lady that size. But alright. Think like Buffy the Vampire Slayer's look and figure, but the type of super strength she has.
Oh.
And, like I say, just freaking adorable from start to finish. And the other one I checked out was the most recent incarnation of Carmen Sandiego, who this time is voiced by Gina Rodriguez. And all I can say about this version of Carmen is, I love this woman. Tells it like it is. Very focused, very cerebral. And one line that I like how she describes her team members, who are brother and sister team, when Shadow-san questions, why do you have these people here? And she goes, my circus, my monkeys. And I'm like, I like that. I like that. It's well done, and it's available on Netflix, all 4 seasons, including a special episode where the viewer gets to decide how the story progresses. A little bit like Shadow the Hedgehog, and I'm just going to say this because we were talking just before we went going. I get why some people don't like the game, but for me personally, I enjoyed it for what it was. It was something a little bit different, and here's something that people need to remember about Shadow. It is within the Sonic series, yes, but it is not a Sonic game, because Shadow does things that Sonic would never do. Like, you know, wielding a gun. Last time I checked, that's not Sonic's mojo. Actually, I'd be very surprised if it ever was, but that's a story unto itself. But, you know, I'm not going to get into it here, and I hate this mentality that because you happen to disagree with somebody, therefore your opinion is wrong. Because I think... Now, Oni may have said this because it's just Oni being Oni, so on that one, take that at face value, because sometimes you know what you're getting with him, and there's other times you don't know. Steve will vouch for that. But at the end of the day, if some people like something that you don't, just accept it and move on, you know, because when you try to change somebody's opinion, you run the risk of ruffling feathers you don't want to ruffle. And as I've stated so many times before, an opinion is neither right nor wrong. It's just your subjective viewpoint. It's just how you feel about it. Facts, statistics, and dates can be wrong, but opinions, no. And I will die defending that. But here's to some articles we are going to get to. May as well start off all things nice, dependent on how you feel about this.
From a certain point of view.
Yes, give me just a minute because I need to... There we go. Just need to get that in properly, and also pop this in. Let me get onto the right page a second. The Undertaker's Hall of Fame ceremony announced. The Undertaker will headline the WWE's Class of Hall of Fame this year. The New York Post and WWE confirmed this on social media. Friday, April 1, will see the company host the entire ceremony at an American Airlines Center in Dallas as part of the WrestleMania week's festivities. For a lot of fans, this is the only choice that really could have made sense. The dead man has such an impact on the company as a whole, and his upcoming speech now jumps the list of priorities for that week. For those that won't be able to see the event live, there is good news. Both Peacock in the United States and WWE Network in other regions will carry the entire spectacle live. For fans lucky enough to be on site, there is an added bonus. WWE is doing Friday Night SmackDown and the 2022 Hall of Fame ceremony as a package deal. So it's a 2-for-1 ticket in the same night. Tuesday, February 2022, we'll see tickets go on sale at 10 a.m. Central Time on Ticketmaster. The Undertaker is scheduled to give his first remarks on his induction on the Today Show tomorrow morning. For now, it'll just be a celebration from all corners of the wrestling world remarking on his amazing career. During his documentary, The Last Ride, he talked about his retirement and later explored the idea that he had one more match he could give the fans. I think it's always in my head and in my heart, especially getting ready for WrestleMania here at AT&T Stadium. It's just like, man, it's just at a point where physically I can't perform at a level, he explained. I mean, I could go out and walk through something and I could get through a match, but I can't give people what they expect at this point. When you see Undertaker, you pay money to see the guy wrestle. I can't deliver physically on what people's expectations are. The passion is obviously still there. I think that will always be there. It's just the physical side of it. My time has come. My time is gone. This is the WWE, and things happen. You never know. But I know my time has passed, and it's time for these young guys to step up and take over and lead us to where we're going. Well, I'm just going to say... Well, Dan just said it for me right there. It's about damn time. With Taker, you could make the argument and distinction that they could have put him in the Hall of Fame in, say, 2011, 2014, and it would have been rightfully and justifiably so. But, you know, you have people that were inducted into the Hall of Fame, like Edge was, in 2012, and he's come back years later and still wrestling on a somewhat semi full-time basis, and he's still going. So I don't know. I think it depends what side of the fence that you sit from. You know, there'll be those that say no, it was the right time to put him in the Hall of Fame before his career ended. But here's the thing, Ric Flair was the first wrestler to be put into the Hall of Fame whilst he was still an active competitor. Granted, the next day he retired, but the point still stands. The time he went into the Hall of Fame, he was still a full-timer. Dan's just saying, it's best he doesn't give another match. His Boneyard match with Styles was a good note to end on his career. And thank you for bringing that up, Dan. I think the person that should induct him should be the phenomenal one. I mean, who better than be his last opponent than be the one who inducts him into the Hall of Fame? Here's the thing. There are always going to be people that say, one more match, one more match. If this was 10 years ago, I'd say yeah. Because even at that stage in his career, Taker, provided you get him prepared and he was all set up, he could still go. But now, the man's in his mid-50s and he's had his hip replaced 3 times. I think now is the time to, for even like the most passionate and pure-hearted wrestling fans to look and say, yeah, it's great to see him, but what do you want your lasting memory of the Phenom to be? Do you want it to be whilst he could still go? Or, as Big Show said in 2002, a broken down has-been? And I still love this retort to this day. I would rather be a broken down has-been than a giant that never was. And Big Show looked like he was ready to tear him apart. I was like, what did you say? But at the time, the Big Show was heel, so, take that as you will. But I'm of the opinion Taker should have gone in years ago, but better late than never. Congratulations to the Phenom. My personal favorite incarnation of his, the American Badass, changed my mind. But most importantly, a legend. Considering the legendary rivalries he's had with Yokozuna, Jake the Snake, Austin, Rock, Triple H, Mankind, notwithstanding, as God is my witness, he is broken in half. Those words are always going to be immortalized with that moment, and one that doesn't get talked about so much is when he chokeslammed Rikishi off of the cell, and Taker's sprawled all over the top of the cell doing his signature sick smiling with tongue, which is like, okay, Taker, don't do that, that's creepy. But, there are so many facets of his career that's going to be remembered fondly, and then stuff that people cringe at, particularly the stuff he did with DDP. And I find it creepy, but at the same time not so surprising that Vince McMahon was the voiceover doing the Stalker of Diamond Dallas Page. And Oni being Oni is like, Vince, why are you doing? It's like, if we bring my wife in, this is going to get awkward. It's like, you aren't listening to a damn word I'm saying, are you? Nope! Figures. But, it is what it is. So, congrats to Taker. Lids, your 2 cents.
I mean, I've said this before, where it's like, it's better late than never, and to be fair, he should have gone in much sooner, but again, I'm glad that he's going in now, and it's like, talk about him having one more match. I'm like, dude, no, just let him retire, let him do his thing. He doesn't need to wrestle another match. He literally has nothing left to prove. So, if he wants to wrestle another match, I say let him, but why? Nothing left to prove. I mean, at this point, yeah, where it's like it's the same thing they're doing with Austin, where it's like they want him to wrestle one more match. I was like, whoa, no. Let the man retire. Leave him alone. He's doing his thing. Just leave him alone. I mean, if he wants to wrestle one more match, more power to him. But it's like, let these people retire. It's just let them be out there being circus ponies, being led out to whatever trick you need them to pull before they're no use to you, and then you have to put them out to pasture. That freaking metaphor is very accurate with professional wrestlers. Let's be honest right there.
Although you could make the argument with Shawn in 2002 and Edge 2 years ago, they felt like they came back to retire on their terms rather than medical circumstances coming and forcing them to retire.
Yeah.
Because I do feel like when Shawn retired originally, I think even in his mind is like he wasn't ready. Whereas in 2010, he was ready. I think with Austin, and this is where I'm 50-50 with it, the right time for him to have his one last match was around 2011 to 2013, when CM Punk was showing interest and saying, come on, let's get Austin in the ring just for this one last match. That was the time to do it. No! People want to see Rock Cena too. I'm sorry, did you consult us? We're people, did you consult us? I mean, I'm Vince McMahon. Raider, do you want to see Rock versus Cena too?
Oh.
No. Young Mr. Oni Cartman. Eric! Oni Rakaku, gosh dang it! Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Cartman. Do you want to see Rock versus Cena too? I would rather see Hulk Hogan versus Jim Cornette in a slapping contest than to ever see those two wrestle. Thank you very much. And knowing Oni, he probably would. And he's listening later.
Yeah.
Hate you, love you too, dude. I will send you 200 bits that says, I don't know, Hulk Hogan room for rent somewhere in South Carolina. It's like, don't you dare!
Good, no. No.
Again, the time to do it for Austin was 10 years ago. The ship has sailed. I mean, it's one thing for him to make the occasional appearance, and if somebody acts stupid, which doesn't really narrow the modern roster down much, drop a couple of stunners, toast a couple of beers, see you again in a year or two. Because, well, at this point, physically, he's pain-free, and doing the odd occasional stunner, that's not going to hurt him. But doing a match where he hasn't been in the ring for years, his timing will be way off. Which is kind of why part of me wants to see Rock versus Reigns, and then the other part's like, do you really have to? Considering his last main match, I don't count the one he had at WrestleMania 32 against Luke Harper, because that was a coffee break. Although, for the record, it does stand that he did have a match. But his last match with John Cena at Mania 29, better than what they had at WrestleMania 28, which, by the way, sucked. Changed my mind. But Rock Cena 2, meh. That's all I'm going to say. Raiden, your thoughts on the Dead Man's Hall of Fame induction?
I definitely agree with your sentiment that it should have happened years ago, but like you said, better late than never. I mean, it's well deserved. The guy has put his body on for so many decades. His debut Survivor Series 1990 to his last match with AJ in the Boneyard match. I mean, yeah. Listen, I always got love for Taker, I really do. But the person sometimes can be a little jarring. But that's life, I guess. You're gonna have those people that has old school values that a lot of people in the now are gonna have problems with. And it's like whatever, but still, it is what it is. But yeah, like I said, well deserved for the man. He put his body on the line for so many decades. And has a lot of great memories, matches, and opponents. So, yeah. Better than never. Should have happened years ago, but hey, well deserved. Well deserved. See who's next.
Yeah, Dan's just asking, what are your thoughts on Cody Rhodes leaving AEW? That is actually a topic I'm going to go into now, so thank you for that. Let me just pop that in here. Cody Rhodes is officially gone from AEW, and according to numerous reports, he's already in negotiations with the WWE about making a possible return to the promotion. Considering all the shade you threw publicly and in character, that's going to be an awkward meeting. Rhodes last wrestled under the banner in 2016 while still enduring the Stardust gimmick. I'm just going to say this right now, he pulled it off well, but why couldn't they just let him be Cody Rhodes instead of being Stardust Light? No, not Stardust, Goldust Light. You know what I meant. But thanks to his time in Ring of Honor, New Japan, AEW, he's firmly established himself as a main event player. Whether or not Vince McMahon agrees with that idea remains to be seen. This is a guy who thinks Finn Balor was never over and Cesaro doesn't have charisma. To quote the lovely Win, have you seen his Cesaro section? You're welcome. But Rhodes can potentially pop up on WWE programming as soon as this week's Raw if a deal gets made in time. So who does Rhodes wrestle first? Does he get paired up with at WrestleMania 38? What matches absolutely needs to happen before allegedly hangs his boots up in a few years after turning 40? Check out our 7 picks in the list below and tell us your comments. Orton, Yes, Orton is still very much locked into his RK Bro partnership with Riddle and has been putting in some of his best years working as years as a result. But his history with Rhodes runs deeper than just about anybody on the roster, so it makes sense that they lock up one more time. And also, that Broga party, what was this, WrestleMania 9? Seth. For numerous reasons, the most obvious choice for a Rhodes program right out of the gate would be against Triple H. Unfortunately, Hunter's health has been unclear ever since he suffered that cardiac event last September, so the odds of him getting back in the ring soon are incredibly slim. I would be very, very surprised if Triple H even gets back in the ring now. Because if you have problems with your heart, that's not something you can come back from so quickly. Rollins has been positioned in the past as the ultimate Triple H guy, so it wouldn't take much for WWE to have him beat by Hunter's proxy. Plus, the in-ring work would be excellent. Roman Reigns, how about no? This one depends entirely on how Vince McMahon views Rhodes in 22. If he sees him as a legitimate main eventer, a program between Rhodes and Reigns could carry WWE all the way to the SummerSlam main event in Nashville. If he doesn't, the best Rhodes can hope for is a one-off match with the Tribal Chief, a la Cesaro. Finn Balor. WWE loves to infer Bullet Club history without ever actually addressing it, and they'd have two major figures from the two biggest eras. Plus, it'd actually give Finn Balor something to do. I agree with that. Kevin Owens. If the Steve Austin thing doesn't happen, Rhodes would be a great replacement to take down the Texas bashing Owens at WrestleMania. Just ignore the fact that Rhodes is not actually from Texas. The Miz and Maurice. Too easy. Sooner or later, we'll get another mixed tag team match with the Rhodes against the Mizanons. Oh, Brandy Rhodes, by the way, Cody, you are the luckiest son bitch walking God's green earth with a gorgeous and wonderful woman like that. Rey Mysterio. Rhodes has given glowing remarks about Mysterio in the past, and their first program way back in 2011. Oh, God, that started the whole bland Phantom of the Opera gimmick. You people go and say, why you remind us about this? It's like, it's in the history books.
To be fair, it wasn't that. To be fair, it wasn't really that bad.
Well, it's better it was better than the dashing Cody gimmick. That's no.
Yeah, Cody said it himself. Like, the thing was getting a little old, so I think him and Ray were coming up with ideas like how to do the Mania match, and Cody came up with the undashing thing. He didn't know Vince was going to do it. Then Ray banged on the door. Vince showed up. It's like, so we want to do a program for Mania. Like, he has ideas. Cody's like, yeah, all right, there you go. So that's what happened. So I thought it was cool. Also, it was thanks to Cody after winning the IC title from Ezekiel Jackson. He turned it into the classic IC title set with the white strap.
If Cody does come back and he comes on SmackDown, hopefully he'll go around and say, can I bring the white strap Intercontinental title back? Because I'm not wearing that thing. And here's the thing. I've not been the biggest fan of the classic IC belt, but compared to what they're currently flaunting around, I'll take the white strap belt over that. But if it was ever given as an option, Attitude Era Intercontinental belt, only because that's what I grew up with. So, I don't know. There's plenty of opportunities that Cody could have if he does come back. Seth and Balor is probably the most likely ones they'll go with, considering Orton's still doing stuff with Riddle. Reigns is locked in with the Bork laser. And Owens versus Austin, even if it's just like a 2-second match, that'll be something. Stunner versus Stunner. And here's the thing. Owens, a great worker. and he's actually the first decent heel they've had in years. A heel that actually sells it. He's actually trying to come off as either as morally ambiguous or the fact he just doesn't give a damn. That is how you do a heel properly. It's just that the way they've done heels in recent years, I don't know. Because here's the thing. Roman still gets cheered even as a heel. So does Seth to a subtle degree. And Miz, well, Miz gets booed whether he's heel, face, or just obnoxious. And then Raider would go, wasn't that all three? So, probably Balor or Seth. Lids, what do you make of it? Who do you think he's most likely to go for if he does come back?
Oh, from the setup that they did at Elimination Chamber on Saturday, seems like he's going to be teaming with Miz against Rey Mysterio and his son Dominic. At least that's what I feel is going to happen. I don't know. I honestly don't know. But there's one person that's being left out of the conversation. What about Shinsuke Nakamura? I would actually like to see those two face off against each other. That'd be fine. I wouldn't be against that. But again, it seems like the likely answer is going to be definitely going to be Rollins or Owens if Austin can't wrestle him or something. I don't know, but it might be fun. Who knows? So anything could happen. So I'm not gonna I'm just gonna sit back and watch. Let's see what happens.
All right, Raiden.
I was two minds on this. I really doubt he's doing anything WWE related, but he is. All that taunting, all that breaking the throne, all doing that. You're gonna go back to the company that really doesn't give a damn about you. That's when I lose all respect. And sorry, Liz, but I know Oni loves Mickey James. I'm going off topic here, but when he heard he's going to be the Rumble, I'm like, after all that garbage, that trash bag shit right there, I'm like, you gotta go back to that? Okay, I get it for the bag, but still, after the Rumble, they're not doing anything because of that whole Forbidden Door thing. Yeah, I lose respect for you. It's like how I feel when people resign. Okay, maybe your body's broken, you can't do the half the stuff you do in the past, but when you do stuff and you just make yourself look like an idiot and you want to complain about it, yeah, I don't care. You signed up for this. Like, rot for all I care. Hope you like catering, and Cody's part of that. And it's messed up because I like what Cody did in AEW with all the stuff, like all the shots, all that little on the nose, but at least he was establishing his character. So it's like, you're doing that, I have no respect. I just, whatever, do you? I just don't care anymore. Like I said, if any opponent, I just don't give a damn. I pull a mulligan with that, but with Cody itself, like I said, I don't know if he's doing anything WWE related. I think he's going to do something with business. I know Rose to the Top, his reality show with him and Brandy are still going on. He still has that reality show on TNT. I don't know. It's just so weird that anything WWE related he'll do. It's just on the nose. I think people are just reporting that just to get a reaction. But whatever he does, I hope he does well. But WWE, F you know.
Fair enough. And on to the subject of WrestleMania. Did a little thing leading into this. WrestleMania 38 taking shape. So, another Elimination Chamber has been and gone. Personally preferred it when it was called No Way Out, when it gave more of a symbolism to the theme of the match. That said, this idea of naming pay-per-views after match types is kind of asinine. Considering we've had events named after Hell in a Cell, Fatal 4-Way, and TLC, the Royal Rumble is the exception. to the rule because of the fact that the pay-per-view was built around that match as opposed to an event having its theme event where said stipulation is of the name of the pay-per-view. What's next? Castrol GTX and Michael Bay presents WWE Tag Team, of which would require Taylor Long to come out and strut his stuff, and the image is complete. We're gonna have tag team matches all night long, player. It's gonna be Odie and Lids versus The Miz and Maurice. I don't know how to feel about this, Liz. How do you feel about this?
I pull out Nax. Let's get the son of a bitch. Like, whoa. This is a hardcore match. It is in my eyes.
This will be a hardcore Oni Rakaku tag team match. What does that involve? Anything you want to do? Really? Do not let that man into a hardcore tag team match. Nothing good will come of that. Yep, you're absolutely right. Just like what would happen if Katsuni got her hands on Nikki Bella. And it's like, oh, in that case, yes. And there's Raiden going like, I don't know why, but I'm secretly enjoying this. Jokes and snark critiquing aside, hearing what happened at Elimination Chamber, it pretty much went down like I thought it would. Brock captured his 7th WWE title, which now puts him in line against Roman for the Universal title, which we'll see for the first time in 8 years we will have an undisputed champion crowned. As the understanding it will be title for title, and so fitting it would happen at the Showcase of the Immortals. Goldberg only lasted 6 minutes against Rocky Light, which is par for the course for Goldberg. Appear, spear, disappear. But these days it seems appear, get speared, and then disappear again. Until he's given a Goodfellas offer that he can't refuse. I don't want to appear! $15 million. Okay, I'll take it now. I predict this. Baby Brock, yes, a babyface Brock Lesnar, that's what I'm calling it, will likely get put over Rocky Light and become the first undisputed champion since Randy Orton, and will either hold the belts hostage or he'll continue to appear on a fortnightly basis and be champion till, say, SummerSlam and lose to either Big E or Seth Rollins. I suspected that Lita wouldn't capture her first title in 16 years, considering they didn't want their golden girl in Big Head Bex to take a loss. But rest assured, folks, she will. Eventually. I get the idea of an adored veteran to put over the new talent. It's tradition, yada yada. But it would be fitting if the new talent was worth it. Had it been Bianca Belair, Liv Morgan, Knack, heck, I would have settled for Piper Niven. That's Dewdrop for those that accept awful names like Gunther. But no. We have to put over a talent that believes her own hype so bad that it makes Triple H during his Reign of Terror era look like a babyface Hulk Hogan. I apologize for nothing. Point is, the way it's looking, this is booking that an out-of-prime Jim Cornette could do. It's just painfully obvious. Vinny, you may be making more money, but you sure ain't making good decisions, and by extension, ratings. Lydia, what is your take for how you think WrestleMania 38 will go down?
All I know is that I have a bad feeling it's just going to be another shit show. And don't get me wrong, if things turn out okay, I won't complain. But it's like, it seems like it's shaping up to be a disaster. And especially considering the fact that they're booking certain individuals over when they shouldn't. Short slip! Sorry, I had a little bitch caught in my throat. Anywho. I'm sorry. I just it's shaping up to be a disaster, and I have a bad feeling that there's a reason that AEW is beating you in the ratings, because at least they try something. You just keep using the same formula over and over again. And I know Oni's out there who's going to give me grief about this, but at least At least they try.
Exactly.
For WWE, it's just like, oh, ship off the same shit over and over again. Let's see what happens. You know, that is what we call the definition of insanity, Vince.
Mm-hmm.
You keep doing it over and over again until you run your company to the ground and sell it to Disney. Because that's exactly what's gonna fucking happen. No. It's gonna be another fucking disaster, and I'm just gonna be watching with popcorn, just watching the freaking place light ablaze. And figuratively speaking, I don't want the literal place go up in smoke. This is going to be a disaster, and it's going to be entertaining. Ironically.
What does the GM of Shade have to say, Raiden?
Mulligan, I don't want to waste my time with this like that. Seriously, bro. Early, I don't know what happened with the Royal Rumble, but it looks like they're going back to the crap that they started way back in 2011. From 2011 through 2016, Rumble has been super inconsistent. But since 2018, it's gotten better. But I don't know what happened. No one produced how good produced it. It just went bad. Rousey winning the Rumble made sense. I mean, people didn't like it, but it made sense. Lesnar going out, whatever. Then the Elimination Chamber happened, and it's like another slap in the face for people. But hey, you paid your good hard money to watch it, so I have no sympathy for them. As for me, I ain't touching that shit with a 10-foot pole, bro. People can enjoy that or not enjoy that. I don't care. Enjoy mediocrity.
Fair enough. We're gonna move on to something that's a little less jovial. The news that we were all greeted with Valentine's Day morning. Ghostbusters director Ivan Reitman dead at 75. Ivan Reitman, celebrated filmmaker behind Ghostbusters and Animal House, has died. In a statement his family provided to the Associated Press, it said the director and producer passed away peacefully in his sleep Saturday night at his Montecito, California home. He was 75. So, just right here, let's take comfort in the fact that he didn't feel a thing. Our family is grieving the unexpected loss of a husband, father, and grandfather who all taught us to always seek the magic in life. Reitman's children, Jason, Catherine, and Caroline, said in a joint statement, "We take comfort that his work as a filmmaker brought laughter and happiness to countless others around the world. While we mourn privately, we hope those who knew him through his films will remember him always." Born in then Czechoslovakia in 1946, I did not know this, Reitman and his family left the country during his youth and settled with relatives in Canada. There, the would-be filmmaker showing an interest in entertainment, so much so he graduated with music and drama degrees from Hamilton's McMaster University. His feature film debut came with 1971's Foxy Lady, a comedy that served as the film debut of both Eugene Levy and Andrea Martin, and should be noted, in deleted scenes of Ghostbusters 2, Eugene Levy was actually playing Rick Moranis' brother.
Oh.
Yep. Fast forward a few years and Reitman helmed the irreverent Meatballs, often thought by many to be responsible for launching the careers of both Reitman and comedian Bill Murray. Meatballs would also serve as the first of many collaborations between him and Murray. In total, the two worked on 4 projects together: Meatballs, Stripes, and the first 2 Ghostbusters. Reitman largely retired from directing in 2014 after helming the Kevin Costner starring Draft Day. After that, he focused mainly on producing projects like Baywatch, Father Figures, A Babysitter's Guide to Monster Hunting, and Ghostbusters Afterlife, while serving as a producer on Afterlife, Reitman's son Jason took over the director's chair. Every filmmaker is doing autobiographical work no matter what they're doing. Jason shared last year about his experience on the film. I made this movie for my dad. I made this movie for my daughter. I think it mirrors what we want to be connected to is each other. And in saying that as well, I offered my own tribute to Ivan Reitman. It's hard to put into words what it means when an architect of many works you adored as a child has sadly left this world. Ivan Reitman was a great storyteller. You'd need only look at his works from Evolution, a movie that seemingly gets talked very little about and grossly underrated, Kindergarten Cop, that seemed to revitalize Arnold Schwarzenegger's work as an actor by going from action star to comedic actor, along with two other projects that paired him with comedy legend Danny DeVito in Twins and Junior. And of course, I would be criticized, thank you watch, if I didn't mention arguably the two movies he will forever be remembered for, in Ghostbusters and its sequel, Ghostbusters 2. He would have stories come to life in a way where you could get the gravity of the nature of the story and yet still be presented to a mass family audience where it could be appreciated by many. It almost seems poetic that Ghostbusters 3 Afterlife was his final film project in which he served as producer to his son, Jason Reitman, in continuing the legacy that he helped begin back in 1984. Of which I conveyed my thoughts on Twitter with the following. I shall just quickly post said Twitter post in there, just so everyone is able to see it. I've learnt of the sad passing of Ivan Reitman this morning. A great storyteller and a man who brought great joy and inspiration to many generations of children and filmmakers. He will forever be admired, missed, and cherished. Ivan's legacy will inspire fans to take up the mantle of storyteller for many years to come, just like his son. Ivan's story has been told. Many can follow in his footsteps and tell their story like his. From one storyteller to another, I offer my condolences and I thank him for the many cherished memories he gave myself and countless others that grew up adoring his work. Rest in peace, sir. You are forever admired and cherished. Stephen, your thoughts on his passing and what did he mean to you as a director and of the movies that he made?
As with any passing, it is tragic, but I'm glad that he's made some films that have been considered cult classics and will always be remembered. I think the piece de resistance will have to be Ghostbusters Afterlife because it's more or less he was passing the torch of directing onto his son.
Mm-hmm.
And that film is just so beautifully done.
Yep. Yeah, it's actually a very apt way because, as you say, it's not just of the original Ghostbusters passing the baton to the next generation, but as you say, it was happening behind the scenes with Ivan saying to his son, "Okay, kid, your turn."
And I'm very much grateful that he was alive long enough to see that project come to fruition.
Yeah.
And that's all I have to say.
He's probably up there somewhere conversing with Harold, just saying, "Hey, that movie was made as a tribute to you," and be like, "Oh, you didn't have to do that." Because Harold, from what I've read about him, very humble guy. He's one of those guys, he never felt like he was above anybody. He always felt like anything he would turn in would be amateurish or unprofessional. But the problem is, when you are humble, you don't see yourself the way others will do. I mean, right, it's not the best analogy. Sarah Michelle Gellar probably doesn't look at herself in the mirror and is like, oh yeah, I'm a superstar, this, that. She just goes, no, I'm just an actress and a mother. Whereas Lids will look at her as like, hello, childhood idol. You know, something like that. Or heck, it'd be like if Raiden ran into a real life version of Kenshiro, he'd be like at his feet like, I'm not worthy.
Or heck, like when me and my friend and a few of my friends actually met Peter Cullen and Frank Welker, just speechless.
Yeah. Lids, your thoughts on Ivan's passing, and what did he mean to you as a storyteller?
I mean, it was very sad to hear that he passed. It's just, but again, for as distinguished as he was, he lived a very long time, and he left his mark on the world, like with all of his work, with not just Ghostbusters, but with certain other films that like remember with just his work with Bill Murray alone is like cemented him as a legendary filmmaker. And I can't really add anything else to that. I enjoyed a lot of his films when I was a kid, even though some of their humor is was a bit more adult for a child. But again, it was tame by comparison nowadays.
Yes.
But all in all, I have nothing else to add. It's just that he was a fantastic filmmaker, and he'll like his legacy will live on long after he's gone. So you can say he left his mark on the world. So it's not many people can say that, because again, a person is never truly gone until they're completely forgotten.
Yeah.
So that's how I feel.
Raiden, same questions to you.
Yeah, it's very sad news, but like you said, at least he lived long enough to see this afterlife be something that he wanted to work on for years, but people are selfish, Hollywood, blah blah blah. But really didn't know he did Evolution. I really enjoyed that movie. Very fun.
I like how it was kind of mocking David Duchovny's character from the X-Files. I know they were kind of lampooning it a little bit, and I'm like, okay, that's clever what you're doing.
Also, I really like this. I really like this one part that Orlando Jones was in, like when David Duchovny's character Ira Gaines said like snag one. Look, I seen this movie. The Black Dude Dies First. You snag it. Yeah, stuff like that was pretty funny. So, hey, for what it's worth, at least his son is carrying his legacy. So, all I gotta say is, R.I.P. There'll be no one. There'll never be someone like him who gave a lot of people their childhood in Ghostbusters. And I'm happy to see that the legacy is still alive. So, that's a piece of that, man. At least you're up there with Harold Ramis now, united.
Yeah. And oddly enough, in Evolution, you did actually have a Ghostbusters alumni cameo in Dan Aykroyd.
All right.
Yeah, I think he was like
senator.
Yes.
Or some sort of representative.
Yeah. It was actually nice to see like Julianne Moore in a movie where how to say this, she's treated as the eye candy and as a love interest for Ira Kane as well, but at the same time she's actually quite integral to the plot because she actually sees what his character is figuring out. And here's the main spoiler for this, folks. The alien spore or life form that's invading Earth is defeated by selenium, which is used in Head and Shoulders. It's defeated by shampoo.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I like there's one comment from these couple of class dumbasses in Kane's class where they go, cells are bad because my uncle has to look at them 24 hours a day in his jail cell. And I'm like, oh, you freaking idiot.
Yeah.
Oh dear, but yeah. Ivan, like I say, did a bunch of really, really good moves, and I didn't know until like all these years later that he did Kindergarten Cop. I'm like, wait, what?
Wait, he did?
Yeah, he directed Kindergarten Cop. He actually helped Arnold make the transition from action star to comedic star. And here's the thing: Arnold's doing it in such a way where it is kind of hammy acting, but for him it works. Because, and this is where I'm going to be nice about Arnold, he's never going to win an Academy Award or BAFTA because he's basically the guy to come in and say the one-liners. In some cases, like Terminator, he's the silent heavy that talks very little and just gets on with it. But if you ask him to like do cheesy one-liners, like whether it be Kindergarten Cop or Last Action Hero, which that movie's just full of of cheesy quotes, but it works for what it is. He makes it work. If it had been done by, all right, if you put say Jason Statham into the role of Kindergarten Cop, just get the DeLorean, go back into 1987 and put Statham in Arnold's role in Kindergarten Cop, would it have the same effect?
No.
I mean, for Raiden, that'd be like if they went back in time and instead of Wesley Snipes playing Blade, they said, give it to Kevin Hart. He'd be like, oh, hell no!
Oh, Jesus Christ, no.
Darkest timeline.
Or in Lidz's case, that'd be like... Let me see. Blanking on names. Blanking on names a minute. Right, hang on. That'd be like... If they went back in time, and instead of Sarah Michelle Gellar as Buffy the Vampire Slayer, they had Brie Larson. And Lids appears to have disappeared.
Brie Larson scares her that much?
Either that or she's AFK.
Or Discord's messing up again.
With Discord, it doesn't surprise me, but, she's not on mute, so I can only presume she's either AFK or having technical difficulties, but, But it is what it is. It's like I say, great film director, great storyteller, and apparently those that knew him, nicest guy you could ever meet. Had an infectious smile. If he smiled, you felt like smiling. So it can be really, really sad. Just read a few comments in the feed. Okay. Sean, who is your daddy and what does he do?
No.
Hey.
Hey, lads. Now, we're just saying, like, the fact that Ivan Reitman chose Arnold to do comedic acting, whereas Arnold's never been what I like to think of as a, an actor that's going to win an Academy Award, because he does the sort of acting that is kind of hammy and it's the sort of thing that you tailor the script to suit him because of the fact that this is not me narking on him. It's just telling it like it is. His career is built around athletic competition. He was a bodybuilder, so for him to say do acting where he would get like an award never happened. But with the way the script was tailored to suit him, it worked. And we said to the effect of, with Kindergarten Cop, the lines he was given, he made it work. Whereas if you'd say, put Jason Statham now playing the role of Kindergarten Cop in '87, it wouldn't work. And I said something to the effect of, it'd be like Kevin Hart playing Blade back in the '90s. Like, no.
Ugh.
Or, as we, whilst you were away, we mentioned, like, so that'd be like if they went back in time and instead of Sarah Michelle Gellar as Buffy, they had Brie Larson instead. Oh, there you are. Lid, you there?
I'm here.
I was gonna say, you seem to keep disappearing.
Sorry, I had a little bit of a nature call. You get what I'm? No, nature call.
Facilities.
Yeah.
No, it's like I said, someone else playing Arnold's role in Kindergarten Cop is like, that's like Kevin Hart playing Blade, or for you, that'd be like someone going back in time, not having Sarah Michelle Gellar cast as Buffy, and instead you have Brie Larson.
Oh, no, we ain't doing that. No, just no.
Oh.
Yeah. Alright. We've all said what we needed to about Ivan's sad passing, and move on to something a little bit more upbeat. This concerns Dragon Ball Super, because apparently they got another movie coming up.
Yeah.
In which 18 has a new look, which I shall bring the twit pick up. Dragon Ball Super is officially bringing back Android 18 to the mix, and has revealed a first look at her new character design for the upcoming movie Dragon Ball Super Superhero. One of the biggest reasons to be excited for the next feature film, beyond it being the franchise's first new anime in 4 years, is the fact that it will be jumping a few years ahead from the events of Dragon Ball Super Broly. Each of the returning characters has aged in the time since, and so many of the returning favourites have gotten makeovers for the occasion. We've seen some makeovers for the Dragon Ball Superhero movie that range from notable changes to minimal, but the newest poster for the movie has revealed some new characters making their return to the feature film. This includes recently revealed Android 18, and she's gotten a new haircut and outfit for the occasion. You can check out a closer look at Android 18's updated look for the Dragon Ball Superhero movie, as we just shown. And it's yet to be revealed the kind of role 18 will be playing in the upcoming movie, but with the confirmation that much of the fight will be focused on Earth, and will be involving the returning Red Ribbon Army and some new androids. It's highly... I know, not this again.
Well,
It's highly likely that 18 will need to weigh in on everything going down. Luckily, it won't be too long before we can see for ourselves, as Dragon Ball Superhero is currently scheduled for a release in Japan this April. For fans outside of Japan, the movie has been scheduled for a release in North America this summer. Superhero is officially described as Dragon Ball Super Broly was a mega hit with worldwide box office revenue of 13.5 billion yen. 4 years later in 2022, a new movie in the Dragon Ball series has finally arrived with an even greater awakening. The Red Ribbon Army, an evil organization that was once defeated by Kid Goku in the past, has been succeeded by a group of people who have created new and mightiest androids ever, Gamma 1 and Gamma 2. I really hope that's not a reference to the Hulk. They call themselves superheroes and begin to attack Piccolo, Gohan, and others. What is the true purpose of the new Red Ribbon Army? With danger looming around the world, now is the time to wake up. Awaken, superhero. Based on what little I've heard, is that some of the characters have been aged up. I mean, like, Gohan and Trunks are actually looking... Not Gohan. Goten and Trunks are looking more like their respective counterparts from GT. I know we said we don't talk about GT, but unfortunately they've been aged up to the ages they were, because GT, I think, takes place 10 years after the events of the last saga in Z, which is the World Tournament saga. And at that point, Goten and Trunks, let's see, if Trunks is supposed to be 18 when we first see him, before the beginning of the Android saga, so him and Goten had to have been like, I don't know, 13 and 14 respectively, give or take.
Mm-hmm.
So, and here's the thing, and this is just me, just saying as a fan, I was not a fan of Team Goten. I thought he was an insufferable, arrogant little jerk, and that version of Trunks, he wasn't that far separated. I mean, this is why I prefer future Trunks, because he was a guy who had to grow up quick in in the world he came from. And I find it weird in Super you actually have that situation where Future is meeting his kid version, and the kid version's like, "Gosh, you're a dork." But again, if he knew what was awaiting him, he wouldn't be having that kind of cocky swagger. It's almost like imagining is like, what if Will Smith from Bel Air was a Super Saiyan? Actually, no. Let's not even entertain that idea.
You'd have too much fun with that.
Oh, he is Vegeta's son, after all. We do realize that. Or it kind of goes hand in hand.
Yeah, but at least with the future version, he actually has his head screwed on properly and is not ruled by his ego.
Mm-hmm.
As much as I love Veggie, to be fair to Vegeta, with Super, he's grown up.
He's gotten much better. Still the same cocky, arrogant SOB, but he, especially after the Boo saga, he cares a lot about family.
I think what they did with him is they just rounded his character out more. They actually... he hasn't mellowed out, but he's mellowed out. He carries himself...
Especially after, his daughter was born. I mean, he's still a little cocky, arrogant, but it's still, yeah, he has a kid. He has a daughter now. So, like...
Yeah, I think in the... whether it's the Funimation or the Ocean dub or whatever it was that did the dub for GT, his daughter's name is Beulah in the Western world, but in the Japanese version, her name is, and I quote, Bra.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Because it goes back to the whole, play on words, because Bulma's full name is Bulma Briefs, which then plays into Trunks, and it's just like, okay. Then again, let's just be grateful on one thing. At least his last name wouldn't have been Trunks Y-Fronts.
Oh
Lord.
Yeah. Sean's just being a complete savage. Let's not forget, 18 can easily break your arms. Just ask Vegeta.
Oh.
Jesus Christ.
And if Team 4-Star was anything to go by, that was one of the very few times we've ever heard Vegeta whimper. And it has to be said, the way they adapted that arc, that is some of the most snarky, shady exchanges I've ever heard between those two characters.
I love the whole I'm trying to remember like I'm not afraid to hit a woman. That's fine. Neither am I. I'm like, oh
I love
shit.
that. I love that.
Here's the thing, and I'm saying this not just as a fan, but I'm saying this objectively. Someone needs to hire Team 4-Star as writers, because they come up with some of the most snarky and lampshade humor, because everything that they wrote in for DBZ Abridged, it's what we were all thinking.
Yeah.
I do like in Resurrection F, you could tell they had paid attention to DBZ Abridged, because what's the song that happens when Frieza is being put back together? Frieza, 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 Frieza. It's like, someone's a fan. Apparently in one of the dubs, I think if they ever had gotten to the Boo Saga in Kai, when they see like the reenactment of the Cell games, they would have had they did actually have the Team 4-Star actors playing like the actor versions of the Z Fighters, but apparently Japan had problems with that. But you know what? At the end of the day, it's their product. I get it, but you know. And now Future Funk is actually trying to do a spin on the Spice Girls wannabe. That's interesting. But no, I love the stuff that they did with that. I think it's a shame that it ended when it did, because I feel like there were some more stories to tell. But the word is, and I don't know this for a fact, so treat this as pure speculation. The word is that the owners of the anime were not messing around anymore. They were actually saying, look, either you stop this or this is going to get real messy.
Well, it wouldn't surprise
so-
me, considering how
Yeah.
the story has been going with some of the people on YouTube lately.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, and this is something I think not just Toriyama, not just TV Tokyo, Funimation, and Fuji TV. Team 4-Star were never looking to take someone else's property and make money out of it, because,
Right.
best to my knowledge, on their page, they never took a single cent for when they did their parodies, because, and they would even say, please support the official release. What they were doing was showing love, appreciation, and respect for what they had grown up with. Now, I see that because I'm able to, cut down to cut through the middle and cut through the bullshit and just say for brass tacks, it's like, look, they're actually honoring what you did. They're actually paying tribute. If you actually, took your head out of your asses a second, you'd understand that. But,
Right.
it is what it is. And let's just be grateful that we got... Actually, when did DBZ Abridged actually begin? Let's see.
Technically, 2009.
When did DB Abridged start? You weren't far, dude. June 6, 2008.
Whoa.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
And it
Okay, that makes sense because I discovered it via a friend in 2009. So
and it officially ended February 1 last year, and it's saying why was DBZ, is it cancelled? Decided to end the series due to a loss of passion for continuing the show, also citing the climate of YouTube in regards to copyright as one of the main reasons for ending the series, which is kind of more or less what I said. But
And they were going to do season 4, but like I think the passion was pretty much gone. I feel like they did it for too long, and it's like
Yeah.
they have
I
other
think
things to
the
do.
story, yeah, I think the story went where it's like they tried to write the movie for BoJack, and it's like they tried to come up with jokes. It just they didn't. Nothing clicked for them. So it's like think we don't like that. That's when they came to the decision where it's like because of all the stuff that was going on and the fact that they had lost love for the project. It's like
That's the time to go.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And considering like so many of the jokes that I don't know if you could call this pop culture status, but there's definitely been said so much now. People, put in other videos like when you hear Kyo what, or
Yeah.
or like when people do like variations of you push the Goku button. Shouldn't have done that. Where people actually adapt that into their own words. It'd be like in a stream, Oni's getting mad. You push the Hogan button, and there's Liz going, "You shouldn't have done that." Because I did that, and I was leaving a comment in on a Gotham clip. I just said, "You push the parents button." Shouldn't have done that. And someone goes, "This is not TFS." And someone goes, No, TFS is for everything. And the snark and the TFS is what helped get Vegeta over even further.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
he had some of the best lines, and we all know this line now. I need an adult. I am an adult. Hey, Gohan, I am an adult. No, you are not. So,
What are you doing? Thermal plans? Are you?
yes.
You know what? Yes.
Or, that's another one. It's like, Vegeta's in danger. Myself, my son, or the planet. Yes.
No. The joke was, it's like he'd be a great use for Vegeta. My son, the planet, or me. Yes.
Freaking smart ass.
You actually believe your own hype? I am the hype.
You're the hype. Like I thought you were somebody's hype man. I am the hype. Kill him.
I am the hype. Kill him.
Or my personal favorite, he's done. Merry Christmas to Vegeta. Vegeta, no. Vegeta, yes.
Mhm.
Oh god. The one joke that probably hasn't aged too well is when he discovers that Dodoria's a woman. Goes, I am a woman. What?
Oh god.
Yeah.
Oh
Now,
God.
to be fair,
I remember that.
to be fair, when they did that, I think it was probably 2009, 2010. It was done with with no malice involved, no malice intent. It was just done just to tell an innocent joke. Whereas today, it'd be like, you need to.
I don't know if it was like it aged poorly now. It's like it's like I said. It was just more. Hey, I am a woman instead of just like going super crazy about that.
Or. And the one that's probably become so meme-worthy. No! Which
Get the Dragon Ball.
which Ruby does to such perfection. It's scary.
And he's done that several times on Oni streams.
No! I think he's looking for you. Do not tell him I'm here. Do not make eye contact.
Too late.
Now I can sense you.
Oh, oh, and the whole thing of Piccolo having to share headspace with Kami and Nail.
I do love that they like made that like the voiceovers in his head because they never did that in the original series where it's like it was just
Yeah,
Neo and Kami were just a part of him. They didn't make the whole inner monologue thing a thing until DBZA, which actually was a work of genius because like having Piccolo, who was mostly a silent character, play off these two other individuals inside his own head.
One I like is where he's refused with Kami. He goes, "Wait, hello? Ah, they've all got it." Oh, of course not. Isn't this the part where you usually start chanting yourself? Oh,
come now.
Like, please, no. You feel great. You can do this. You can win. Or how freaking dark they made Popo. Oh,
I love it.
that personally, that for me, aside from Vegeta, that was the best incarnation I ever seen of Mr. Popo.
like when the,
I'm like, yo, stop this.
I tell you where they're not safe. I like how in that DBZ shorts where Vegeta's trying to goad Gohan into fighting him, he goes and breaks the 6th rule of Popo's training. A lie here for Riz. You motherfucker! How could you?
Who just broke Rule 6?
No, oh no, it's Piccolo is he's trying to get Piccolo to fight him. It's like, no, I'm not gonna fight you. It's like he breaks the vase and he's like, Vegeta, what are you doing? Oh, just broke Rule 6. And just the little animation of Vegeta's eyes shrinking. It's like, oh shit, he understands he fucked up. It's like, I will remember this, Namekian. Please do.
Or Popo on acid. What the hell?
Oh dear God.
All these squares make a circle.
All these squares make a circle. Bitch, don't
like,
tell me what to do!
I need you to tell me that I can leave the lookout if I want to. Mr. Popo, you can leave the lookout. Bitch, don't tell me what to do!
Or another one that everyone relates to. Oh, it's fine. It doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother me. It bothers me. It bothers me. It bothers me.
Like,
and this is still green.
It's still green.
How do all these squares make a circle? And I thought, okay, that's a nice little quick reference back to that. I like how they just pop up with the DB shorts on occasion, which, alright, it's still using the likeness of the characters, but it's their own footage.
Yeah, plus the whole stuff that they've been doing with Hiffle, which is like the home for infinite losers. I do love that they're basically just showing what happened to Cell after he was destroyed. Oh, he went to be rehabilitated with all the other villains. Oh, that's gonna work out well.
I like how not Deborah, the character that was no. It's the character that was assisting Babidi.
Babidi.
The one who faced Gohan, and apparently if he went and spat on people, it turned them to stone.
Oh, it's Deborah.
Oh,
Deborah.
That is Deborah.
I like how King Yama said he'd probably enjoy it too much going into Home for Infinite Losers, so he sent him straight to heaven. Which I thought, okay. It was a tad unexpected. But, and inadvertently introducing George Takei to a whole new generation, but probably not the way he would have preferred, with, him being involved, like in this multiple conference call, and all you keep hearing is, "Oh Oh my! How did people keep getting in on this call?
Damn it, Takei! Yarg! Shut it, Bojack!
Yeah. I don't think there's been an abridged parody series that's had the lasting longevity as DBZ abridged. I think that someone at some stage tried it with Yu-Gi-Oh! Abridged, but it didn't last as long.
They only went up to the fourth season and stopped, and then they started doing the other series, GX and 5Ds, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Card games on motorcycles.
Oh, that. We just have people saying, card games on motorcycles, card games on motorcycles. Oni, no. Or like when they tried parodying Lady Gaga's Born This Way, and then they do Bold This Way, and it gets to...
Oh my god!
And it gets to Tiet, goes, no.
Yep.
I like how when they get to like the beginning of the Trunk saga, because everyone knows the whole line of Tien repeating, as a matter of fact, it isn't. They kind of squash it and goes, is that okay? As a matter of fact, fuck you.
No, matter of fact, go fuck yourself. Now, where was I?
Because I think it was on Newgrounds. Originally, somebody just like kept repeating it and repeating it and repeating it until eventually Vegeta went into Super Saiyan mode and then went Final Flash on everyone. And, and someone did a thing where Vegeta beat Sonic the Hedgehog out of existence and even gave him the Final Flash. And I'm like, well, this seems a bit one-sided. Yeah, there was even... Now, for perspective and context, this was early 2000s, so audio quality was nowhere near as good as even what it was in 2010. But they had, Goku and Vegeta reacting to the "What's up" meme. Yeah, the voice acting is... It's nothing to write home about. It's just, if you appreciate it for what it is, where people are just taking, just making fun out of it, and they're not putting much effort, and it's like, well, okay. The short is in on the joke, so it's like, just appreciate it for what it is, whereas it also is what was available to them at the time, because YouTube wasn't even a thing around the time this was originally put up, and audio quality in the early 2000s, if you were recording from home, it was what it was. Whereas today, we have decent microphones like Yetis from Blue, which for me, that stepped my game up several layers, because people remember the stuff I was using from, say, 2008 onwards until about 2018, and people were like, ooh, it's like audio's... It wasn't amazing, and it was even less amazing with the first ever microphone I used, which was a £5 microphone from Microsoft, and if you only spend £5 on it, you're going to get what you pay for. But yeah, I don't know what anime they'll parody next. I'm just want to check something. Is Sonic F still around? Because they tried... Yeah, that's still around. It's done in a similar way to DBZ Abridged, but it's a lot shorter, to where they actually do literally make it a bridge, where... Because most DBZ Abridged episodes be average length about, what, 10 minutes? Most of these episodes are like way under 10 minutes. And the way they sort of describe in the intro, Sonic F, because saying F is quicker than Q, and I'm like, I see what you did there. I see what you did there. It's a nice little play on words. And there's even like one exchange when they go to, I think it's Area 99. Chris actually says aloud, "What does the scouter say about his power level?" And Sonic, all you hear from Sonic is, "Really? You're really gonna go there with that?" And it's like, yeah, we talked to it. It's like, yeah, and I said no. Because it's just a tired line from like the official DBZ to where, it's just been, lampooned and memed to the point where even fans are sick of it. But like I say, I'm not going to show it in this because, well, we've only got about...
We're not famous enough.
Nah. Well, the only way I'd be able to do it is just do as we've done before, but without the visual being in there. And of course, 4Kids and Tokyo TV, they really don't like their stuff showing up on someone else's channel, because those that remember the stuff that I used to do back in the day, I used to do I did have a small review series called Spice Tales, where I actually reviewed the anime Spice and Wolf, something that Win and I are very fond of. It's just, decent writing, decent cast, and decent animation. And even though, I'm obeying the fair use rules, Bandai, who owned the copyright for it, sent me to, and I quote, YouTube copyright school.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I had a video...
That was a thing back in the day.
That's a thing?
Yeah, that they weren't happy with that I was using their material, even though legally I wasn't doing anything wrong. But if the copyright holder doesn't like your stuff being in there, they have the power to have it taken down. Whereas over the years, there are people that have seen that I've got their stuff within my videos, but they look and go, well, we can see you've got stuff in there, but we're gonna let it play, and all you get given is like, if you reach partner status, they'd receive the money for it, and I wouldn't, which is like, I get it, it's a catch-22, but at least my work doesn't get taken down that way. And considering I'm not a partner right now anyhow, it's not a big deal for me. Besides, if you watch one video from Tyro Magnus, the stuff that he makes from his YouTube ad revenue, before he hit 1 million subscribers, he was actually making less money a year than what he did as a car room salesman. But it was because of the money he would be paid from appearances at conventions and his acting gigs. That's where he was making his meal ticket from. YouTube was still being treated as a hobby in some sense. It was only when the money, the views and the money was really starting to roll, and then his YouTube money could support him in a similar way to Mr. Beast. I mean, last I checked, he's worth about 26 million, and he gives away most of his money half the time. And his weirdest thing on his
now he has a burger joint and has his own chocolate.
Nice.
Yeah.
Although I noticed on his Facebook page, he only recently posted Chandler's old babysitter, getting his home. And I was like, we streamed that video about 2 or 3 years ago. Give or take. So it's like, it's a bit odd that they put that up there now. I was like, okay, it's his channel, let him do what he wants with it, but still, it just, I don't know. It just seems a bit weird. But, he's a guy that he's doing his own thing on YouTube, and he never has to worry about anything because he's a guy that's using all his own footage and he's not being flagged once. I mean, you get people that don't like him. Ruby, for whatever reason, doesn't like Mr. Beast, even though the guy's doing a lot of good for people. But, you can't please them all.
Does he ever explain why?
I think he just doesn't like the way he sounds. I mean, I think that's like his only hang-up, isn't it, Lids?
Alright.
That's why Ruby doesn't like...
That's fair.
I mean, that's why what Ruby has said about Mr. Beast, he doesn't like the way he talks. Because I don't know what it is, but Ruby's just got a major hang-up about him. It's like, okay. Me personally, I just see him as nothing more than a nice guy that's doing a lot of good things for people. That's the way I look at it, but to each their own. Well, only thing I will end on for this week. I've been checking out the new Bel Air series, and there are things that I like that they do with it, and there are some things I raise an eyebrow with. I like the fact that the basic DNA is woven into the show, but it's doing its own thing, and it's actually updating and flipping a few things around and changing the dynamics. First and foremost, Will is still Will, but it's just like, take the dynamic of the original version, but use it with a modern teenager. Because the original Fresh Prince, very family friendly, very family friendly sitcom. Whereas with this ain't family friendly. There's a lot of adult references, themes, and in the case of Carlton's a cokehead.
Oh my god. Ooh.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
yeah, he is. Yeah, like I said before on Discord, bro. The minute I saw his face, I immediately didn't like him.
And Dan says, from what you told me about the series, this is how this show did Carlton dirty. Carlton, I think Corey from Double Toasted said it the best. Carlton's the villain of this series. And one of his friends legit planted drugs in Will's bag, all because Will finally made it onto the basketball team. And Will has a big problem, and rightly so. His friend was dropping the N-word in rap lyrics when he happened to walk into the locker room. Will says, you can't say that. And then Carlton goes and says, but, you have all these rappers that go and say it in lyrics and then, and then sell it to white kids. And I'm like, this is just me. That doesn't make it right. Because there are certain things certain people are not allowed to say. And that's one of them. Lisa, who was originally played by... Oh, this is going to bother me.
Nia Long.
Thank you. The character is back in this, but she's an ex-girlfriend of Carlton's, and that is actually providing a lot of friction and tension.
That is so weird.
Because you'd think, on paper in the original series, Lisa would be more ideal for Carlton, because of the way that she's grounded, she does her studies, and you have Will that's the goofball, but that's just the idea, it's complementarity. And this one, Carlton sees Will and Lisa, just talking with each other at the party. Carlton decides to throw him into the pool. And in this version, Will doesn't know how to swim.
Oh, damn.
Oh.
They get into a fight, and then it gets all over social media. They do start learning to be a little bit more civil with each other, where Will kind of chastises Carlton for the way he speaks to people. It's like saying, you can't go up to them and say, this is how you speak to these people. It's just like, ooh, dude, no. No, no, no. Aunt Viv, I think this generation of Aunt Viv, she is a little softer in a nice way than the Aunt Viv. I'm gonna allow that's fine. Dan says, I can understand. Dan says, oh right.
Yeah, sure.
I can
No problem. Sorry about that.
I can understand not making
Go for it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we're kind of doing that thing again. I can understand not making Carlton a goofball like in the original, but it doesn't mean you should make Carlton a complete ass. Yeah, because the thing is, Carlton was a goofball, but his heart was in the right place. Whereas with this one, he's got an agenda.
Mm-hmm.
Like I say, Aunt Viv, very sweet, looking out for Will, because, you know, she grew up in West Philly, like he did. She understands what it's like, and she goes to bat for him. And this version of Uncle Phil, I got love for the James Avery incarnation. He's always going to be my go-to, but this one doesn't raise his voice. And if he does raise his voice, I haven't seen him do it. He's got this very stoic nature to him. You know, he's very articulate. He chooses his words carefully, and when he talks to Will, even when he's trying to get him to learn something, he talks to him like a human being. You know, he actually talks to him without raising his voice and without talking down to him. And I'm like, okay, I got respect for you. It's like, you know, you're decent. Ashley's in this, but she's used sparingly and she doesn't really say too much. Hillary, how you doing?
I told you, bruh. She's a looker.
They've completely flipped her dynamic. I mean, if the original Hillary had social media back then, she probably would be a social media master or expert. But this one, she's doing it in such a way where it's not just benefiting her, but she's trying to benefit other people as well. And she goes out of her way to actually try and help not only Will, but she goes to help Jazz out with his record store. And whereas before, Jazz was the goofy, stupid creeper stalker. Maybe stalker's not the right word, but it was a guy that couldn't take the hint, which then of course led to the infamous Jazz being thrown out, which I don't think you'll ever see in this one, because Jazz is just like the voice of reason, very intelligent voice of reason. There's that sort of, how to describe this, that very sort of playful twinkle in their eyes for each other, where they don't go and say it, but you kind of look at them and you sort of feel like held a sign, will you two get a room already? But really love what they're doing with Hillary. It's, you know, the Karen Parsons version is iconic, but I like how they've turned the character on its head and actually doing it for the right reasons, because Hillary, the way she was then, I don't think that would fly so much now, because there's so much of those type of aspects of the character that are in so many other sitcoms and dramatic shows and movies now where it's done. it's been done to the point of exhaustion. And Jeffrey, that character is not telling everybody everything, because you see him meeting up with an associate saying, we need to talk about security, and our employer is not, is doing this, that. We need to step things up. And I'm like, okay, that's telling me something that there's something more going on there. So, make of that what you will. But it's definitely...
that kind of sounds... if I can interject, that kind of reminds me of of Mrs. Beakley from the new DuckTales.
Yeah, I did catch little snippets of that and thought, okay, there's something going on there. Be interesting to see where it goes going forward, because I'm probably going to check that out tomorrow during the afternoon.
If I think because I wasn't really on board with the show, but thanks to your recommendation, I might, and emphasis on might, check a little bit of it. I don't know. It's from what you're telling people. Okay, I'll give it a shot. I'll give it a shot a little bit.
It's one of those things where even if you're not completely on board with it, watch the very first episode at least, just so by the end of it you're either with it or you're not. Because I decided to stick it out and thought, okay, the first episode was interesting, because I think the first episode was like an hour long, so there's a lot going on, and the house that the Banks have got in this one, I mean, to be fair, the original one that they had was palatial. And here's the thing, I always think of particularly the way it was shot and photographed in the original. I always think of the original version as the White House, because it's got that very similar architect and that similar sort of look from a distance. But this one, if Philip Banks was a millionaire going into the original, in this one he's probably close to at least a good 100 million.
Yes,
because the size of of his back garden, damn. And you could tell this was not necessarily done in a studio, because the way it's all spaced out and the size of Will's room, I want that room. It's like that's about that's about 10 times bigger than my room. And the amount of, I mean, they a lot of things were carried over from the original. Will being a sneakerhead, and when he gets a lot of his stuff sent over, there's like probably at least a good 10 to 12 boxes of sneakers, one of them being Air Jordans that he actually wins. He actually uses when he wins his first basketball game.
That's cool.
And they did do one thing which was kind of predictable. Will wears his school jersey inside out.
Of course.
But this one's done a little bit more organically. Rather than Will trying to stand out, he gets burger sauce on the front of it and then just turns it inside out, and it's like, okay, that's cool.
All right, that's a subtle way of doing it instead of the '90s way.
Well, the '90s was the '90s. It was what it was. Whereas with this one, they find a clever way into it and what have you. And Dan's is also saying, I can't wait for the Big Bang Theory reboot in 20 years when they turn into a drama and Sheldon Cooper turns out to be a drug kingpin. I don't think anybody wants to see that.
Oh, dear Lord. Bruh. I watched one episode of Young Sheldon, and I'm already regretting it.
Ugh.
I'm a big
That is why
Disconnect.
I didn't give that show a chance. I'm like, no, thank you. I'm good. Good day. Bye bye.
Here's the thing. I got no ill will with the actor that's portraying Sheldon, because at the end of the day, he's just doing a job he's paid to do. But then again, if you're hating him by the end of it, they did his job. And of course, it doesn't help matters. You've got Jim Parsons doing his narrating and then, doing his usual ego thing. Although, one nice little touch I think that they did was when he was, like, listening to this, like, science lecture on the radio. You see all these panning shots of the rest of the Big Bang Theory posse, listening in at different parts of America. Here's the thing, though. The time that they were at, because young Sheldon is supposed to be like when he's like 13, 14, something of that nature. So I don't know why they focused on Penny, because Penny's supposed to be like 10 years younger than Leonard, yet she's depicted as being like 7 to 10. It's just like, shouldn't the camera have either viewed her as being filmed in a cot as a baby, or not have her there altogether? Because, I don't know,
Right.
It just seems like it's a little bit out of context, or maybe the writers of the show didn't do enough research, because Leonard, I think, is supposed to be late 20s, early 30s when we see him at the start of the Big Bang Theory, and Penny's supposed to be... She has to be early 20s at the very least. Because I think Kaylee Coco was supposed to be like 21, 22 when she first did the show. So, she was quite young when she stepped in, whereas Jim Parsons, I don't know what that guy is taking, but he does not look anywhere near a guy in his 40s. Whereas with John Galecki, I don't think he's aged so well, because, alright, he looks very fresh-faced in the very first season, but as you see time go along, it's like time catches up with him, whereas, again, Sheldon, I don't know what that guy's taking. He just doesn't age. Then again, neither does Rajesh, but again, I think it's something in the genetic code. Indians don't age as quick as everyone else, and as it's been pointed out, African Americans don't age as quick either, because there's something in the genetic code where, interior wise, things like bones and muscles and what have you, they probably age the same as everyone else, but on the outside, appearance wise, let's just say, for the sake of discussion, Kevin Hart, who's 40, he may as well look 30 or 28, because he just doesn't look his age. I mean, like in Raiden's case, if he so chose to, he could probably pass for 19 to 23. If you
you flatter me.
Tell like it is, man. Same thing with Kaiju, because of the fact he's an American of Mexican descent. He's got that woven into his code. He'll probably never look his age either. I'm told I look somewhere around late 20s, early 30s, even though I'm a tad bit older than that. But, if somebody thinks I'm 28, when I'm at a point like where if I'm like 39 or 42, it's like, am I going to tell somebody they're wrong? No. That'd be like if someone walks up to Liz and go, "Miss, are you 23? Yes, I am, and I'm going to buy you coffee as well. Well, I was expecting a laugh out of Liz, but never mind.
Sorry.
And again, I don't know what Ashley is taking, but she, I think is mid-late 20s. She could pass for 19 if she so chose to push it. Because, Braden, you've seen pictures of her. Damn.
Oh, without a doubt.
Yeah. Well, I don't think we've got anything more to talk about because we're about 4 minutes away from hitting the 2-hour mark. I'm going to be working this week during the day because the voiceovers and the filming for Batman Forever is done. It's just now starting to do the editing and render it together. But what I'm going to be doing this week is something that I haven't really done for a while. Instead of doing like a whole cram session, just each day work on it for no more than, say, 30 minutes to an hour at a time. Just so that when you come back to it each time later, you look at it through a fresh set of eyes. Because it's one thing if you can do a cramming session, but there's a reason why they say sometimes it helps if you just step away from it for a while and then come back to it later and think, okay, I've got an idea of what I can do with this now. And let's just say there's going to be a few jokes in there where Liz will walk away and go, okay, I have mixed feelings about this. Because Raiden knows some of the jokes that are put in, but you don't know all the jokes that are going to be put in. But there'll be a couple of jokes where it's like, yeah, I agree with this. And there'll be even like a couple where Steve will like, I don't know how to feel about this. But it's a movie I've been looking to do for a while, but the timing was never right. And I like to think of this whenever I do a movie review. Sometimes an idea will form in my head and I think, okay, I can play around with this a little bit. There are some times where I will purposely look to be like, okay, I did that movie. The 30th anniversary for one of its sequels is coming up, so now I need to kind of set up how do I get to that point. But because I've kind of gone all over the place with the anthology series, the only one that was left was Batman Forever, because I covered Returns years ago and then did like an updated version of it. Did Batman for the 30th because it was the right time. And then I did Batman and Robin because I thought, let's just get this one out of my system because I hate this movie and I just want done with it. And it's like the only one that was left was Batman Forever. So, be interesting to see how that one pans out, and then I can go into March just focusing on Space Jam and Scary Movie, and then go into April and just focus on Titanic. That's going to be an interesting one because never really done a review for a movie like that. And it's like whenever I do any of these sort of milestone anniversary reviews, you always have to treat each project differently. It's like, okay, how do I approach this? How do I analyze that? How do I get to the payoff and treat it in such a way whereby you're being respectful, but at the same time you can be critical and in some cases make jokes out of it. Because Lid's avatar for the Titanic review simply says this about one character: "My, aren't you the life of the party?" I'll let you fill in the blanks until you actually get to the review.
Mm-hmm.
But I've got to import the footage from 2 DVDs for that, because the copy of Titanic that I bought in... Actually, when did I buy this one? I must have bought this... I think I bought this in 2002. And because it was a long movie, the movie was spread over 2 discs, so... Well, it was a 3-hour movie. I don't know if I could sit through another 3-hour showing of that again, because I did that for the 100th anniversary of the sinking of the real Titanic, and it wasn't as 3D as it should have been, but you know, it's the fact that I got to actually see Titanic at the theatre, so... And it wouldn't surprise me if they actually put it back in the theatre again this year, because, you know, this year's the 25th anniversary. So, the reason I say that is because it did actually originally come out in 97. It's just that it came... I know why they did this. They wanted to get into Oscar season. And the thing is, they weren't expecting it to be the roller coaster success that it was, but more and more people kept going back to it week after week after week after week until it cleaned up, I think, 12 of the 18 Oscar nominations. And even, like, Sean Connery says, and the winners, huh, what a surprise, Titanic. And I'm like, really, dude, you're going to be that sarcastic with it? But I don't think anybody was expecting that movie to run away with it the way it did. But, you know, it is what it is. I mean, I watched it back in... When I originally saw it back in the day, someone goes, nah, I don't care about this so much. Kate Winslet, bears all in this. Okay, I'll go buy a copy. Because, as you do, young man in his 20s is like, okay, but now I actually appreciate it for the writing, and it's actually said over time, it's not just, you know, a young couple or, you know, teenage girls that, you know, go to see it. It's people from, like, different generations of how, say, a married couple in their late 20s get something out of it, to where people in their 50s and 60s watch it and appreciate how they felt when they met their first respective significant love interests. So they'll get something out of it. And the ones I that are being antagonistic about it, is where they wear a t-shirt that says, the ship sank, get over it. And it's just like, really, guys? That's kind of crass. And also kind of being disrespectful to the people that died on the real ship.
Mm-hmm.
I got no time for people like that. I mean, yeah, we do know the movie is a giant spoiler warning, but I think what most people appreciate is how you actually get to that payoff with the ship sinking. It's just how it's done. And
it's the journey.
Exactly. And they often say it's the journey itself that is probably the most rewarding rather than the destination. I mean, if you think about it, and I use this as an example, whenever I've gone to the Railway Museum in Swindon, yeah, I'm going there because I want to go marvel at some of the, you know, fine cinnamon, go into a museum to look at cinnamon exhibits, go to look at museum exhibits. Don't know how to confuse museum with cinnamon. I want a cinnamon latte later. It's when you're going from town to town or even city to city and you're seeing the countryside and all of the, you know, panoramic views around it, how it looks different from county to county. That's part of the journey, and it's kind of therapeutic. And this is a thing I've noticed. People just are either, you know, glumly looking at their smartphones rather than be like, look out the window a minute, look at all this going on. You know? I don't know, that's just me. All right. Folks, thank you for inviting us into your homes, your laptops, your tablets, your cell phones, your TV, and what have you. And I'd just like to say thank you for allowing us to waste 2 hours of your time, but do it in a way where we inform, entertain, and just allow you to forget your troubles for a few hours. Now, some may look at it as time wasting. I look at that as, if you enjoyed it, was it really being wasted? I don't think so. Until next week, I have been the Knight, saying good night from the Night. Steven.
I've been Steven. Don't forget to check out MJ Knight's Teespring page.
I'm been the Awesome One, and don't forget to check out Oni Rikaku on twitch.tv/Oni Rikaku.
And I have been the cybernetic but energetic Raiden. And I guess my plug is just, I don't know, if you're ever in the Disco server, check us out. We got a lot of projects we're doing, personal projects, whatever. Like, of course, our own Mr. Kaiju Noir with his Primal War Draco Azul comic. Check that ish out. Heard it's really good.
Issue 3 is now available on Amazon.
Yep. Thank you, folks. And have a good night.
Hey.
Good night, everybody.